Hey guys, Spin Pixie here, and I'm at work, so you're gonna have to pardon the hair. It's not like a masterpiece anyway, ever, but today it's even more icky than most days. But anyway, so I saw Tequila's video on, or Lady Gravedancer's video on Newbie Witches, and then I saw Ember Raven's video on Newbie Witches. And these two videos have really moved me to want to make my own response. So here we go. Everything that Ember Raven said, I agree with 1,000,000%. She's a very wise witch, and I have nothing but respect for her and everything she said, and then some. As for Lady Gravedancer's video, again, I agree with pretty much everything in there. But it did kind of sound like she was harshing on witches who are well-read. And I don't know that I consider myself a well-read witch so much as I just have taken in a lot of information from other witches who are well-read. I don't think that being well-read makes you a better witch or a worse witch. I don't think that it makes you a mean or witch who is above reproach. I don't think it just kind of sounded, and forgive me, Lady Gravedancer, if my opinion was wrong, but it just kind of felt like you were kind of harsh toward the well-read witch, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I would be more inclined to direct my anger or my finger waggling to the YouTube ego that some newbies will come across. So, to the Newbie Witches, I have been doing YouTube channels for a very long time, but this is my very first in this community, and I've never been more well received. That isn't to say that I have thousands of subscribers or anything, but that doesn't matter to me. What has mattered to me is that everyone that I've come in contact with and that I've gotten to know just talk to a little bit has been nothing but kind. There are trolls here, as in every community, so you have to be mindful of them. But there are so many witches here that are such a well of information. There's such wells of information that you could never learn everything from, because there's just so much information there, and you can tell. As Ember said, Tequila, the Lady Gravedancer, she's one of the first witches I really started watching here and got into because she's so giving of her information. She's so her education obviously comes down from her lineage, which is a beautiful thing because that doesn't happen much in this community anymore, and I have nothing but respect for that. And then you have witches like Ember Raven, who has been everywhere and read all the books, and she's just an amazing, amazing woman, an amazing witch. And I haven't actually gotten to talk to her on a one-on-one basis, but she seems like a really, really cool person. The Lady Gravedancer, I've talked to a little bit, and she's really cool. She's a really, really fun person. And then I also like Magiabella Nightspells. She's one of those who's got a lot of knowledge behind her, and I think that she'd be a really good witch to watch as well. I can't tell you who to learn from. I can tell you who I learn from, or who I feel I learn from when I watch them, but I can't tell you. I can't make those decisions for you. That is purely your decision. I will say that there are some witches on here that suffer from YouTube ego, and I'm not pointing my comments at anyone, so please don't dramatize this. One thing that we are not is different from any community, and there are those witches who like to instigate drama. So just saying, for all y'all, I'm not pointing this comment on anyone, because everyone I've mentioned so far I have nothing but respect for. But there are witches, as in every community, who suffer from YouTube ego. And these are some witches who think that they can sit there and waggle their finger at other witches about what they practice, how they practice, who they practice with, and what you can and cannot mix. I view this path as a path of many paths. And I think that every spiritual path, if the practitioners are doing something right, then whatever they're doing is going to work for them, and it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there, and as long as you're not stepping on anyone to do it, needlessly, I should say. I think that it is very important as a new witch that you definitely heed the words of Ember, Honey Raven, and don't let anyone tell you what your path should consist of. I made that mistake, and it hindered me for the first few years of my practice, because I thought, well, surely if this person's already practicing and they said not to do this, then surely I shouldn't do it. And I was so wrong, and that cost me growth. So find it out for yourself. Sometimes you're going to do something and you're going to say, well, you know what? Guess I shouldn't have done that, and I'm never doing it again. But find out for yourself. There are plenty of witches who are willing to help new witches on this path. And Tequila said she's one, Ember has said she's one, I am one, who will be more than willing to help new witches on this path, because we've all been there. Some of us have had family to teach us. Oops, sorry about that. Some of us have had family to teach us. Others of us have not. Some of us have had books to educate us. Others of us have not. As far as my practice and my personal practice, I didn't have books when I started. My family was very Christian, Catholic-centric, and if they had seen a book on witchcraft in my earlier years, they would have flipped a bitch, like serious. The day that my mom found out that I was a witch, I was typing something for a pagan group I belonged to, and she's like, "You're not pagan. You're not. What is this? You're Catholic. You are baptized. You are Catholic." And it was, it was an interesting way for her to find out, but she found out nonetheless. I think that when I started, I didn't have any sort of resources that I could just buy from the store, so it all had to come from talking. Never underestimate the power of talking to spirit or deity or what you believe to be there for you. So if that's all you have, that's all you have. And if you're open to being silent and receiving the information, you will. I think that if you're new to this community and you have the resources like the internet, that's more than most of us who are, witches in this community had when we were starting out. Because the internet, despite how long it's been around, is still a fairly new thing. Because I know I ain't that old, and I did not have the internet when I was 16, 17. I did not have internet in my house until I was like 18, which is sad, because it had been around since I was like 14, I think, or 15. Like in homes, I mean. So basically, just to kind of bring all this together, listen to what Ember said, listen to what Tequila said. They're very strong witches in this community, and in my opinion, they're very respected. Just relax. It's your path. Practice it your way. You know in your gut and in your heart who you can learn from on this path and who you cannot learn from. If you have any kind of intuition about that, then you'll do what's right for you. Don't let anyone tell you what is witchcraft and what is not, or what is good or what is bad. Do it for yourself. Find it all out for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you cannot mix religions, because everyone's path is different. And just because your path is one way doesn't mean that their path is going to be the same. As Ember said, I don't get the Christo-pagan thing. There are certain things in the Bible that I have read that just don't sound very kind to witchcraft. So I don't get it myself, but I am not the Christo-pagan, so I couldn't tell you how that works. It's not for me to define. So, and then finally, beware of YouTube ego, and beware of those witches who like to raise themselves up by stepping on other people. Beware of that. You don't want to be caught in that. like every community, this community has its trolls, this community has its drama, this community has its shit talkers and its gossips. We are no different from any other community out there on YouTube or in the world. So don't think that we're above any of it, because believe me, at the end of the day, we're people who live people lives in the people world. So we're going to do exactly as others do, you know, some of us, and talk the shit and, you know, backstab and be, you know, as Ember called them, the stones in the road, or, you know, I don't know how she said it, but I like the way she said it. It was like, but like the fucked up sycophants, basically, as Ember said. And I just think you have to be careful. Just with anything, go with your instincts and be careful. I really hope that if you are a new witch to this community and someone has been rude to you, that you do not take it to mean that all of us are like that. The one thing that I will say is, if you are trying to come at somebody and ask for information, keep in mind that as people who do channels, who have videos, we post, you know, there are things about us that are in the public, you know, like we stand in front of a camera and we talk, or, you know, we show you where we go or what we're up to, and to some extent, and that's more information than we have about the seeker. So if you're going to want to seek information, I would definitely pay attention to what you're asking and what you're willing to make known about yourself. Because I think that, quite honestly, the seeker is at a disadvantage because they know the person that they're asking information of, and we don't know anything about you. So if you're finding that you're met with a cold shoulder, it's probably because there's not enough of you out there to make a connection. So it's just some food for thought. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on the whole Newbie Witches thing. If someone is making you feel inferior, I'll end it on this. If someone is making you feel inferior because you don't have all the things and all the books, then if they're actually saying something to you, that's one thing. But if they're not, I would take a look at that. Because if someone's saying, like, you're not a witch because you don't have blah, 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 that's their hang-up. Don't let it be your hang-up. If it's you doing it to yourself, you need to realize that and stop. Because everyone started somewhere. Everyone starts somewhere. The journey starts with the first step. And the first step can be anything that perpetuates you to your goal, or that propels you to your goal. And so if your first step is to pick up a stick and make a wand, or stack a couple rocks and make a god or goddess statue, or to, you know, take a couple of twigs and build a pentacle, you know, or grab a couple matchbooks as your elemental fire, then that's what you do. It's your first step. Don't be afraid of taking baby steps, because that's how we all learn to walk, and from walking we learn to run, and there you go. So that's been my rant. I hope it's been helpful and of information to you guys. Definitely check out Ember Honey Raven's video and the Lady Gravedancer's video on Newbie Witches, and I'm going to get out of here. So until next time, many blessings, and welcome to the community, to all the Newbie Witches.